are going to continue where we left off. We are reading out of Parashat Emor, page 99b, Tzadik Tet Amud Bet, and we're going slowly but surely about the mystical and hidden reasons of the blowing of the shofar, being the mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah, is why we do it, what's the purpose of doing it, what's the mystical significance. So we were explaining in not such of a clear way why specifically we're blowing the shofar. I'm saying not so clear because we were talking about the more technical action that is happening in the world above during Rosh Hashanah and at the time of the blowing of the shofar. But to conclude it, we were saying that during Rosh Hashanah, the Sfirah of Binah, that is the nourishing Sfirah from the side of Mochin, is, so to say, removed and numb. This is called, in the Kabbalistic term, Siluk HaMochin. The Mochin is being removed. Since the three Sfirot that are related and nourished from the Sfirah of Bina are Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, so these Sfirot, they're also being removed with the Mochin. We were explaining briefly that the Sfirot of Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet, corresponding to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, these are the Sfirot that are nourishing the world with the Midah of Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. Then in order to arouse the Midah of Rachamim, of mercy, then we need to blow the shofar down in this world. This is the very short version of why we blow the shofar. The shofar is arousing the Rachamim, the mercy from the world above, and affecting us down here, since the Midah, the attribute of Din, is so powerful on the day of Rosh Hashanah, then we need to overpower it with a lot of mercy. This is very briefly what we were talking about the last couple of days. But now we're going to continue and explain more the secrets of the blowing itself. Yesterday we started explaining, and now you had a live demonstration, that there are different types of tkiyot. You know, maybe there's a shofar. It's out there. There are three different types of tkiyot. Toda. So yesterday we explained it a little bit. The first type of the Tekiah is called Tekiah, which is blowing, and it sounds a very long sound. Then the next one is called Shevarim. Like three breaks. This is called Shevarim. Shevarim means that it's something that is breaking. And then the last one is called Teruah. Teruah is like a trumpet. This is the Teruah. This has to be minimum of 9 times that you do the blowing. And if it's more, it's fine, but it has to be minimum of 9 times. So you have Tekiah, Shevarim, and Teruah. Yesterday we were explaining that there's a certain order how you do it. The first one is Tekiah, a long one, then the 3 short ones, then the small ones, and then another long one. And then this is called Tashrat. This is the acronym. Then we have the second type is a long Tekiah, a long one, 3 short ones, and a long one. This is called Tashat. This is the acronym, of course. And then the last one is a long one, many small ones, and a long one. This is called Tarat. This is the order and the structure of the Tekiyot. Now he's going to start explaining a little bit more the mystical significance behind it. Like I said yesterday, it's not that some composer sat there and was inventing a tune. There's something more mystical to that. So he says as follows: Ve'amar, Sidra Kadama, the first seder, the first one that we blow, this is called Tashrat. Shehu Tekiah Rishona, this is the first blowing. And like I said, the Tekiah, Shevarim, Teruah, Tekiah. Kal Anafik, the sound of the Tekiah that goes out from the shofar. Umit'atar le'ela, and it gets adorned and crowned in the world above. V'seder aliyato, and the order how it goes up. Kisalik reki'in. It goes up from one firmament to another firmament to another firmament. The sound of the Tekiah, the sound of the blowing of the shofar below, it goes through all the reki'im. We know that we have, in general, we know of 7 firmaments. There's actually more, but we know of 7 firmaments. And the Tekiah, the sound of the shofar, will start going up from one firmament to another firmament, mirakia lerakia. Ve'over bekoach ben achitzonim. And it breaks through all the klipot, because between every firmament there's layers of klipot. If you remember, we spoke about it a couple of times, that in the beginning, when the world was created, the Shekhinah, the feminine aspect of the divine, was dwelling in the world below, in Gan Eden. Then Adam HaRishon sinned, so he removed the Shekhinah from the ground, from the earth, into the first firmament. Then came the next sin of Cain and Hevel, and it moved it from the 7th to the 6th. And then came Dor HaAflaga, and all these generations, that they did one generation after generation did another sin, and they pushed it from the 6th to the 5th, to the 5th to the 4th, till it went to the highest of all firmaments. Then came Avraham Avinu, and he's 10 generations after Adam HaRishon, and he pulled the Shekhinah down from the top one. Some will call it the 7th, going down to the 1st. It's more correct to say from the 1st to the 2nd. Then came Yitzchak and Yaakov and so forth, and pulled it down till Moshe Rabbeinu, who was the 7th one, who pulled it down from the firmament into the world again by bringing the Torah. Then unfortunately right after was the sin of the golden calf, and again the Shekhinah was pushed again out of the world. So between the firmaments there are layers of klipot, of spiritual husks, and in the term of Kabbalah it's called chitzoni. Chitzoni is something that is outside. Pnimi is something that is inside, and chitzoni is something that is outside. Anything that is in the realm of kedusha is inside, and everything is outside is in the realm of impurity. So between the firmaments there are layers of klipot. The sound of the shofar is able to go through the klipot and to break them as it's going on the way up. The analogy where you can imagine in your mind, I don't know if you ever saw those huge ships, they're called icebreakers. And they usually have it in the northern part of the globe or the southern part of the globe, where you have 2-3 meters of ice. And these huge ships, they go through the ice and they break these massive blocks of ice. It's called icebreakers. So I like calling the shofar like these icebreakers. The sound of it is going from one firmament to another firmament and breaking all these klipot that are causing, so to say, separation between the world above and the world below. Now, needless to say that these klipot, they want to stop the voice of the shofar from going up. And of course, these klipot are because of our sins. So it's almost like when you want to block the sun from coming into your room. So you can just have a drape, so it will stop the light a little bit. You have maybe a blind, will stop it even more. Maybe you close the shutters, it stops it even more. Or you just take a piece of wood, like they do before a hurricane, and you shut completely the window. So every time that we sin, we, so to say, filling these gaps with impurity, with klipot. Now what happens is that the way going up is blocked with all these layers of klipot. So he says that the sound of the Tekiah, and the Tekiah, it's talking about the long one, the tu, it's like an icebreaker. It goes through all the klipot, through all the firmaments, and starts breaking it one after the other. And needless to say that the klipot, they don't want the sound to go up, so they're trying to stop it. But nevertheless, the Tekiah is way too strong, and it breaks all these klipot. V'itbaka ben turi ramai, and it's breaking through these great mountains. That these great mountains are these layers, these thick layers of the klipa, and it's called tlat halale de gulgalta, the ziranpin, and it's able to break through these barriers, so to say. Now, if you remember, we mentioned that the midot are sleeping. All the midot in the ziranpin, it says the ziranpin hayeshenim, they're sleeping. Kevan shenistalku mem hamochin. If you remember, We mentioned yesterday and the day before that if you go now to the biggest genius in the generation, and you come to him at 2 o'clock in the morning and you start asking him some questions, then he's not going to answer anything. All you're going to hear is him snoring. Why? Because right now the mochin, the intellect, is removed and the body is just lying on the bed. A second later he will wake up, he'll answer any question you want. But while he's sleeping, the engine, the intellect, is completely numb. Same thing in the spiritual world. When the bina, the sphere of bina, is removed, there's no mochin, so the midot are sleeping, they're numb. And again, this is the term, just remember the term siluka mochin. Now what happens is, while the midot are sleeping, the midot are placed in the zeir anpin. Zeir anpin is, the translation of zeir anpin is the small face, meaning that it's a combination of a few sfirot together. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, that are considered the midot. Now since the mochin is removed, the midot are numb. Now what happens is, the sound of the shofar is the alarm clock, technically. And why are they sleeping? Because the mochin is removed, and the sfirot of Netzach, Hod, Yesod that are underneath Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet, they're all considered sleeping, and they are the ones that are called these mountains that the klipot are covering over. Umate legabe de Avraham. Now what happens is that I do the first Tekiah, and the sound goes all the way up to the highest of all the midot, which is midat chesed, and it goes up to Avraham. Shehu akli shel chesed de'da'at. Avraham is the vessel, the container, the power of chesed, of kindness, that is placed in the sphira of da'at. Shebetocho haya melubash hamoach. In this sphira was dressed the mochin, the intellect, atara de chesed de'da'at, crown of chesed from the sphere of da'at, shene'esa mi chesed de zeir anpin. So Avraham Avinu, this is called Avraham Avinu. This is, so to say, the crown that is crowning the midah of chesed. Hi nezeh akli haya yashen, but this vessel, this power of chesed is numb. It's completely sleeping. There's nothing there. V'kol haTekiah me'orer oto, and the sound of the Tekiah is arousing the midah of chesed. Just imagine now Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. These are Senegorim, these are the power, and they're sleeping right now. So all you need to do is you do one Tekiah, a long one. This wakes up Avraham Avinu, wakes up midat chesed. Here there's a little commentary by the Rashash, and it says, הרשש פירש הכוונה שעל חב"ד דמה דזה, שנקרא המה חסד, עולם מעורים כל החב"ד דמה, והחב"ד דמה הם הישנים מפאת סילוק המוחין דאבא שהוא בתוכן מסתלק. Okay, now don't ask me to translate that, because the Rashash explains that the meaning here is that the Chochma, Bina, and Dat of the name of Hashem Ma, which is placed in the Zeir Anpin, it's called the Ma, the Shem Ma of Midat HaChesed. ולעולם המעוררים כל חב"ד דמה, how do you arouse and awaken the Chochma, Bina, and Dat of Shem Ma? By doing that. But why is that? Because there's a siluka mochin. How do you wake it up? You bring the mochin back together. But nevertheless, this is just a commentary. Nevertheless, we continue, and he says, "V'sharya bereshe v'itatar." After that, when this voice of the Tekiah goes up to and dwells on the head of the Zeir Anpin, meaning it's waking up Avraham Avinu, waking up the midah of Chesed, then it's dwelling there. Who etzem hamoach de atara de Chesed. Now it becomes the essence of the crown of Chesed. Ve'akavana le'amochin de chochmot u'vechasadim, meaning that it's now dwelling and rooted in the level of chochma and all the chasadim, all the kindness. Then he continues. Actually, there's another short commentary here. And this is we'll skip that, it's not so important. Now he continues. V'ita'atarhu, and then the essence of the moach, the intellect of chesed, is also waking up. Wow, what happens is, motzi me'anukva et hanetzach hod yesod. Now it's woken up, chesed is woken up, it goes up to the sphere of bina, and it's able to pull from it these three midot of netzach hod yesod, that these are the two mochin of bina. And this becomes a crown to the Sphira of Gvura. And these are all removed as the result of the sleeping of the Mochin in the Sphira of Bina. ואז כל ד' המוחין עולים למעלה עד רום המעלות בסוד מן. Then the 4 levels of Mochin, they go up to the world above. And because of that, ועל ידי זה יורדים כל הד' מוחין על גבי רשע דזעיר אנפין. Then as a result, these 4 מוחין, they come back on the זעיר אנפין. הישנים וגם החדשים, דאור ודפנים, עומדים שם בסוד אב ואם. They're coming in arousing all the midot from the beginning. ועד כי נקורסיה ד' מוחין דאבא ואמא דאחור ופנים נתקנים מנסים שם כיסא של ד' רגליים, וזה עושה מה שכתוב בחסד בכיסא. To say it in other words, or to say it in simple words, what happens is that the midot of chesed, gvura, and tiferet are numb and sleeping. The blowing of the shofar is acting as this icebreaker, as this power that goes through all the sfirot, all the firmaments, and breaking all the rekim, and able to reach to the midah of chesed and to wake it up. By the midah of chesed being awoken, to make it a long story short, it affects the sphira of bina, and it's able to pull down again the midot back into their position, and then bina becomes again the mochin as a crown to the midot, and by that what happens is now the midah of chesed is being aroused. Now we continue. He brings now a backing to what he says, and he says, and in the book that is called Sefer HaAgada, we have learned Ki b'sha'ata de'ahu kala kadama salik. At the time when it's blown, the first tekiah, the first of all the tekiyot, you have 100 tekiyot, the first one that goes up, it'ar ve'it'atar Avraham. What it does, the first tekiah goes and wakes up Avraham Avinu. What does it really mean? פירוש שהחוכמות והחסדים דאבא ואמא מתלבשים אותה בנהי דאבא. Kabbalistic term to it is now the mochin is being aroused again and being dressed in the sphira of chokhmah, and it's able to affect the midot. ועד כי לקורסיה, now what happens is that it's preparing a chair that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is able to sit on. Up until now, the Kadosh Baruch Hu was sitting on the chair of Din. Now it's preparing a new chair. And he continues, Pakdin ale Abba ve'ima, and the Sphira of Chokhmah and Ima, they're coming into unity because of all this. All this is because of one blow. The Chokhmah and Bina become united. כמו שכתב הרב במילת תקיעה, כי תקע הוא לשון זוג. If you're taking the word Tekiah, Tekiah is the name of the blow, and you break up the word, you will see that it's Taf Kuf Yud Ain, and then Hey. Saying, in other words, this is a zivug, a unity that is done between the mother and the father. So, in saying in very simple words, the first blow of the shofar, to keep it simple, goes and wakes up the midah of chesed, which breaks up Avraham Avinu. Now we go to the next one. Adhachi salka tenina. Now comes the next sound, the Shevarim, the 3 broken ones. Now what happens with that? Takifa letavra tukfei regizin. This is a more powerful tekiah. It's more stronger. Now it's able to attack, so to say. This is like a mission going on here. It's able to attack the anger of the dinim. The first one was a first injection, first tekiah, and it's able to break through the masachim, through the screens, and go up and wake up Avraham Avinu. The next one is a more powerful one, and it's able to face, so to say, the anger. It says the word that he's using is rigzin. Rigzin is rogez. Rogez is the anger of the dinim. Din comes with anger. It's able to attack it. Veda sidra tanina. And this is the second part. This is called Shevarim. The toot, toot, toot. Hahu kala tevira betokfoi. This sound is able to reach to where the din is and to break the din, the judgment. Why? Ki chesed hu soda tekiah. Chesed is behind the tekiah. Shu kol pashut. This is a simple sound. Hanimshach bli hefsek. That it just continues. Very simple sound. Don't have to be so particular here. Veshvarim, and the breaking ones, bechinat din. This has come from the concept of din, she kol mufsak, that it's a sound but has breaks. Is able to approach to the din and break the din. And why? Because it's a breaking sound. Ucheden salka, and then this sound of the Shevarim goes up. V'chol dinin shel haklipot, all these dinim, all these prosecutions of the klipot, deit'arun kamei itbaru, and all these dinim that are being aroused at the time that the prosecution is, so to say, presented. I mean, Baruch Hashem, I shouldn't say Baruch Hashem, Shem Arachem, I should say. We have a lot of sins, and that is what's arousing the dinim to go against us. So the sound of the Shevarim is able to break these dinim. Kulam nishberu lefanav, all the dinim are being broken in front of the sound. Sorry, let me read it again. Kol hadinim she'itoreru be'et aliyato, all the dinim that are being aroused at the time of the sound going up. Mip'at haklipot, the dinim are so strong, the judgments are so strong because of all the klipot. Kulam nishbarim lefanav. It's able to break all the dinim. Ve'ole, then it goes all the way up. Ad desalik le'atre de Yitzchak. It goes all the way up to the place where Yitzchak Avinu is positioned. And this is, of course, the crown of the midah of gvura, that this is the crown on the head of the Zeir Anpin, and this is where, so to say, Yitzchak Avinu is dwelling there. Now we're waking up Yitzchak Avinu. Ki mamshich bezah, he is able to pull down into the Zeir Anpin, de'aven de'tzelem de'achor, is able to pull in energy into the sphira of gvura. Kevan de Yitzchak itar. Now, since Yitzchak is woken up, meaning shenimshechu hamochin, the Zeir Anpin, the mochin is now being penetrated into the Zeir Anpin. Vechame leAvraham metaken lekursaya. Now you have both Avraham and Yitzchak. They're fixing the chair for the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Perush shenisharu al gabei resha de Zeir Anpin. They're all still dwelling on the head of the Zeir Anpin. ויצחק רואה את אברהם שמתקן את הכיסא. Now Yitzchak sees that Avraham Avinu is preparing the chair that Hashem is going to sit on. שנשארו החוכמות והחסדים. Now the Avraham Avinu, if you're looking at the right side, then it's חוכמה, חסד, נצח. Excuse me. So Avraham Avinu coming from chesed, being affected by chokhmah, then it's now preparing, so to say, one side of the chair. Yitzchak Avinu sees that. והם מוכנים להיכנס לתוך זעיר אנפין. Now Yitzchak is now participating, now Yitzchak is coming from the left side. Bina, Gvura, and Hod. לקיימה קמה, they're able to stand together in the ספירה of Bina and shining over the זעיר אנפין. כי אינו נכנס עדיין עד תקיעה שנייה. They're just dwelling above the זעיר אנפין. They're not able to penetrate yet till it comes the next תקיעה. כדן התקפיה ותבר תוקפה קשיה. Now what happens is, the severity of the din is, so to say, subdued by Yitzchak. Tokef adin hakashe shel Yitzchak. Because Yitzchak is such a powerful din, it's able to subdue the din of the klipot. Michamat hamochin. Because the mochin, Yitzchak is being fed from the mochin of Bina. And Yitzchak is very strong dinim, is able to overpower the dinim of the klipot. There's a lot of very good commentary by the Arizal and the Rashash, but it's a little bit more difficult to understand. But nevertheless, let's continue. Now it means that the one who's blowing the shofar, the one who blows the shofar has to have the right kavanah. It's not just enough to do, you have to have the right intention. That when I'm doing I have to have in my mind that now the sound of the Tekiah is going and breaking all the klipot in order to wake up Avraham Avinu, to start arousing the chasadim in the world. Then when I do the Shevarim, the now I have to have in mind that I'm going to wake up Yitzchak Avinu. Why do I want to wake up Yitzchak? Because Yitzchak itself is a very powerful din. And if you remember, I'm sure you know, there's a game, kids play with it, that it has a rock, it has a paper, and it has scissors. So if you come with a rock and somebody else comes with the scissors, then you break the scissors. If you come with the paper and the scissors, you know the game. I don't have to repeat the instructions now. The point is that that when the rock is stronger than the scissors, the rock is the din of Yitzchak, so to say. It's able to break anything, any other type of judgment. But this is coming from a positive judgment. There is a power that will overpower the Gvura, which will be the paper going over the rock. This is Chesed overpowering Gvura. But nevertheless, the din of Yitzchak is much more powerful than the din that any Klippa can arouse. I just need to awaken that power. It's kind of like when you have little kids, and unfortunately, they'll have two kids from third grade, they'll fight, and then one of the boys in third grade will go and call his brother from the sixth grade. And suddenly the sixth grader is like, what are you picking on my brother? So suddenly the sixth grader is like the strong one. So Yitzchak Avinu, we're calling Yitzchak Avinu. Well, you want to fight with me? I'll call my father. So we arouse Yitzchak Avinu to come and arouse this strong din. Begin letav Rachela v'tukva dedin akashya. Why do we want to raise Yitzchak? כדי לשבור ולבטל את הכוח ותוקף הדין הקשה. In order to break the severity of the hard judgment that is aroused by the klipa. Hado dichtiv, as it says in the pasuk, this is said in Tehillim, chapter Peitet, 89. Ashrei ha'am yodei teruah. Happy is the nation that they know what it means to blow the shofar, but teruah, not the Tekiah, and not the Shevarim. Perush, yodei vadai. What does it mean? Yodei means, of course, you know, but that they know how to have the right kavanah. You can blow now the shofar. If you don't have the right kavanah, it's not going to do it. So this is the idea of going to the car, put the gear in neutral, put it on N, put the gas, nothing's going to happen. So there's a sound, but there's nothing going on here. So it says, Ashrei am yodei teruah. Happy is the ones who know what it means to is to know the kavanah to what's going on right now, what I'm supposed to do here. Ina mitruah ulashon shvira. No question here, the teruah comes from the same word in Hebrew, lishvor, shvira. V'hainu sheyodim leshaber et tokef adin, that you know how to break the severity of judgment. So we have the Tekiah is waking up Chesed. The Shevarim is waking up the Gvura of Yitzchak, of course, the good Gvura. Now we have the third type, Sidrat Telita, the third type of blowing. Hu Torah de Tashrat. This is the Torah, the tu. Kala Nafik Vesalik. This sound of the Torah that goes out from the shofar, or lelemala, it goes up. Uvaka kol einun rekin. It's able to break all the firmaments of this world. Ve'over bekoach. It goes powerful. Ben kol achitzonim. It's able to break all the klipot. Haomdim baderech ve'rotzim lakev et aliyoto. It breaks everything that stands in its way. Ve'al yadei zen, with this power, ve'rachamei mit'ara. Now it's able to awaken the midah of rachamim. All the mercy is being awoken up. Besod ala elokim betruah. There is a verse that we mentioned. You'll hear it on Monday and Tuesday. There's certain verses that we recite before the blowing of the shofar. And one of the verses we say, Allah Elohim betruah. The midat adin, it goes up betruah, like in a war. Before you charge, even you see in real wars, there's always that poor guy that stands in the front. Everybody has swords, he's with a trumpet. Just imagine the logic here. Everybody's with the shields and swords, and the poor guy's in the front. He's getting all the arrows. So this poor guy with a trumpet. But nevertheless, when you go to attack, then how do you attack? You attack with the Teruah. Okay, so Besod Allah Elohim betruah. This is the secret of the power of din goes up in a Teruah, in an attack. Ki al yadei ze yotzet atara de gvura. By this blowing, the crown of the gvura that is placed specifically in Hod, If you remember, we talked about that there's 3 sfirot that they go up to Bina, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. Hod is the crown. Hod, that is the crown of Gvura coming from Bina, Ole al gabe resha de Zeir Anpin, it goes above the Zeir Anpin, ומתחברים עם החסדים שביסודות דאימא. Now it's able to be connected to the chesed of the sphere of Bina. ומטה ההוקלה לרשע דיעקב. Now this sound is going all the way up to יעקב אבינו. ומגיע כל הזה לראשו של יעקב. And he wants to say in other words שמתחברים all the גבורות and all the חסדים that are what's called a levush of the sphere of Yesod, they all get connected together. And needless to say, when you have a connection, like I said, between the mother and the father, you create a middle line, kav emtzai. This is kav emtzai de mochin, the middle side of the mochin, which is dat, and this is called Yaakov. Yaakov is the middle, and this is midat harachamim. Yaakov itar. Now Yaakov is being woken up from his sleep. V'chame le'Avraham mitaken begisa achara. Now he sees Avraham Avinu, which is the secret of Chasadim, getting all organized and preparing the Ser, and then he sees Yaakov. Now he joins them. Then both of them, meaning Avraham and Yitzchak, they get merged together, and they both holding to each other. And Yitzchak is the crown of the Gvura. We mentioned that Avraham is the crown of Chesed. Now they're able to merge together and they become together, united in the sphere of Yesod, rooted in Bina. Now they're able to merge all together. It's like merging powers. On one side you have Avraham Avinu, which is, like I said, Chochmah, Chesed, and Netzach. On the left side, you have Yitzchak, so you have Gvura, you have Bina, Gvura, and Hod. Now Yitzchak comes in, so you have Dat, you have Tiferet, and you have Yesod. There's a merging of all the Sfirot together. Veda mihai sitra, Yaakov comes from the left side. Velo yachlin tokfo lenakfo levar. Then nothing is able to stand this power of the din of the chesed of Avraham, the dinim of Yitzchak, and the rachamim, the mercy of Yaakov. Nothing in the world, in the universe, is able to stand in front of this power. No din, no judgment in the universe can sustain or to argue or fight with such a power. Even though the gvurot, the din is penetrating in such a deep place, these 3 types of blowing, it's called seder. When you have the Tekiah, the Shevarim, and the Teruah, and then the Tekiah again, and kulam seder echad, the same way that we unite the Tekiyot, because the first Tekiah, you have all 3 together. If you remember, the first one is Tekiah, Shevarim, Teruah, Tekiah, all of them together in one seder. Then you have Tekiah, Shevarim, Tekiah, one seder, the second seder, and then the third one is Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, another seder. But when we blow the first one, the first is the most important. And again, Tekiah, Shevarim, Teruah, Tekiah, the unity of the Tekiyot is causing the unity in the world above between Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And needless to say, that nothing no din, no judgment in the world above can stand in front of that. It's like kind of like in the comics world, is you taking Superman, Batman, and what's another guy? Spider-Man. You put them together, then nobody can fight. I mean, you have you covered all grounds. So you have now all the heroes together. Up until this point, everything is rooted in the side of din. Now what happens is in the second Tekiah and in the third Tekiah, in the second Tekiah is penetrating the Chochmah, Chesed, Netzach. The second Tekiah is coming the Bina, Gvura, and Hod, and that is arousing by the third Tekiah all the mercy, Mitorarim Arachamim, Harei shehem bet shlavim. These are the three stages that are awakening all the midot. Let's just read one more part, and I don't know if we're not going to be able to finish all this, but nevertheless, at least let's quickly read one more part. And he continues what he says, and he explains, Sidra Achara. Now, if you remember, there's another seder. What we did now is we went through one seder. There's another seder. And this is Tekiah, Shevarim, Tekiah. Kala, Nafik, Vesalik. This sound goes all the way up from the mouth of the Tekiah, and it goes up and up and up in a sense. Venatil, le'Avraham me'atre, and it takes Avraham from his place, meaning taking the two chapters. We have two parts of the Tekiah, and it's pulling down the moach, the intellect of Chokhmah, and it's putting it into a vessel, and the vessel is called Chesed. Just constantly imagine the Sfirot, Chokhmah, Chesed, Netzach. She'ala v'nesa Chokhmah dezir anpin. Now it's, so to say, aligning the right side. V'nagle letata, and then it's able to start affecting the world below. It's pulling it in the world below to a place of Chesed, from Chokhmah to Chesed. Le'atar de tukfehon de Yitzchak Sharyan, and it's standing, so to say, in front of the same place where Yitzchak is dwelling. This is the severity, the power of Gvura. This is where Yitzchak is. Meaning, saying in other words, it's able, with the second blowing, to already be placed in the right place in order to be equal with the Chasadim and the Gvurot of Avraham and Yitzchak. וגם כי בו"ב קווים שמתגברים בדינים, even though in the זעיר אנפין the dinim are very powerful, כי הגימל ראשונות הם רחמים. The first three ספירות that are called חוכמה, בינה and דעת, there are only חסדים, only רחמים, I'm sorry. וקיימן לאברהם בגייבהו, and then it's able to, so to say, place Avraham, which is the chesed, in the intellect of חוכמה, and בתוכו, inside, ולהמתיק את תוקף דין הגבורה. It's able to sweeten the severity of the judgment. הרי שנתפשטו המוחין דחסד ונצח, the mochin that are coming down from חוכמה, חסד ונצח, מחוכמה אל החסד. It's able to pull the mochin into the chesed. In order to have a lot of rachamim, must be a lot of chesed. Now he really goes and continues one after the other. We have a little more time. Let's do a little bit very quickly, just so we can get the idea. Sidra Teninaya, the second seder, that coming from the Shevarim. If you remember, the first is Tekiah, Shevarim, Teruah, Tekiah. Now we have the second one that we went to is Tekiah, Teruah, Shevarim, Tekiah. Now we have Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. But nevertheless, the second sedra, Nafi Kala Tevira, the sound goes up above, Vela Takifa Kedama. Now it's not as strong as the first seder, because in the first seder it's able to really go to the highest of all places. But nevertheless, La Dechalishu Kala Detaka. It's not less stronger because the Baal Tekiah is becoming weaker. If you pay attention on Monday, you'll see that the first kiyot are strong, and by the 50th and the 60th year, so that's where it's not because the Tekiah is already tired, rather because it's already one after the other. But nevertheless, it continues, and he says, "Ela dehu kal alav ihu legabe Yitzchak kadmita." This sound that is the voice that is arousing Yitzchak and the Gvura, it's not as powerful as the first one. Shayum b'bchinat tzelem de'achor. Now he goes into explain a little bit more the reason why. Taman tukfa takifa sharia, because on the left side is dwelling the severity of the dinim. Ela kavanat kol hashvarim detashat hi legabe inun beit din diltata. I explained a couple of times that there are different batei dinim. Every world, between the worlds, there's a different beit din. So the seder of all the tkiyot is each one is, so to say, placed in a different beit din. Just to make a long story short, because we're not going to make it to the end. Hold on for a second. Then we just we'll finish. I'll explain, then we'll do the questions. Okay, the rest is very long. We're not going to be able to finish it. But nevertheless, to summarize, what he's saying, very, very short, is that at the time of Rosh Hashanah, the mochin is removed, so the midot are sleeping, completely sleeping. That causes the dinim to be very, very powerful. The effect of the shofar, exactly like we said, no need to repeat it too many times, is that the first Tekiah goes and arouses the midah of chesed. The second Tekiah, the Shevarim, arouses the midah of din, of Yitzchak, and the Teruah arouses the midah of Chachamim. Together, when they're united in Tekiah, Shevarim, Teruah, Tekiah, then the unity in the Tekiyot below is making a unity in the Sfirot above, and then the severity, or shouldn't say the severity, the power of the Rachamim, the mercy from the world above, nothing can stand against it. And therefore, we're able to arouse such mercy from above that it's affecting us in the world below. Then he's going and explaining why we have so many of them. So in other words, in very short words, what he's explaining is because there are many Batei Dinim. There's not only one Beit Din. I explained a couple of times that between the worlds that are Beit Din is a court, a heavenly court, but between the worlds there are Batei Dinim. And needless to say, it's almost like in many places, things in the world, sometimes it's not enough to do the first blow. You have to do it again and again and again. I don't want to compare it to something not so fun, but I'm sure some of you had to go through the torture that is called a root canal. And in the root canal, the dentist goes, like, okay, I got the point. And he's going there. Why? Because he's trying to get any dirt that is left in the canal. And then he has this, I'm sure the heads are like, oh yeah, I remember that. So the same idea, it has to go over and over and over till it removes completely any type of judgment, to a point that there's the chesed, the mercy, the rachamim are so more powerful from the dinim coming from the other side of holiness, then there's no chance for the dinim to overpower in any type of a way. So the point to take from that in a very simple way is that while the blowing of the shofar is happening, then first of all you want to hope that where you are to hear the shofar, that the one who's blowing the shofar doesn't only know how to make the sound, he also knows what kavanah to have in every Tekiah. And here we're going very briefly. There's books over books that explains for the one who's blowing the shofar what is the intention has to be with each Tekiah, and what thought it is and what's behind it. And you want to make sure that you're in a place like that. Why? Because he's representing you. When the Baal Tekiah says the brachot, he's including you in the brachot, and you have to be included in his blowing because he's doing the mitzvah for you. You can appoint, in some cases, somebody to do the mitzvah for you. So you want to make sure that not only you know, it's also the Baal Tekiah knows, the one who's blowing the shofar, that he knows, but you have to have in mind also that's in general what's going on right now. Now you have to keep it in mind. Mainly you have to do tshuva while the time of the Tekiah of the shofar. But you also want to have in mind in it, because you'll see that on Monday and Tuesday we do the first set of the Tekiyot is after the reading of the Torah, before the Tefillah, before the prayer of Musaf. Then we pray Musaf. Each one prays it quietly, and then we do the repetition of Musaf. And the repetition of Musaf is very long. It's not like what we do on Shabbat, that it's 5 minutes, the Chazan says a list of brachot and we answer Amen. Rather, we continue reading in the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. And this is the main part of the Tefillah. The beginning is very, very short. The main part of the Tefillah is the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. And during the Musaf, there are 3 sdarim that you have to go through the text. Better if you understand what you're actually reading. And you'll see there's breaks in between, and then there's more Tekiyot. And then we continue. Try to read maybe, if you can, before, so you get familiar with the text, what is going on, so you can have the right kavanah. Because this is what's going to stand for you at the time that you need to arouse rachamim, mercy on yourself. Then this will serve to you. I know it sounds something very simple. You're reading a bunch of text and blowing through a horn, but nevertheless, this is the secret that it says in the Tehillim, in chapter 89. It says, "Ashrei ha'am yodei teruah." Happy is the nation. They know how to activate, so to say, through this simple horn, the how to sweeten the dinim, so I'm not going to bring on myself such judgment. And needless to say, that the power of it is overpowering all the prosecution, so to say, against me. Very important to remember that I'm not only praying for myself, I'm praying for the rest of the world. Because for everyone that prays, the 10,000s that don't even know what's going on. So we're praying for the rest of the world. So the point to take from that, there's much more in that. I think what I'm going to do is just verbally explain what he's saying there in the next class, instead of going through the whole thing, because it continues and it goes very, very interesting. Maybe throughout Rosh Hashanah we'll continue learning it, because it's talking about the power of how the beginning of the month, what's happening on the first day of the month, but it's also serving for the rest of the year. Very, very interesting. Maybe on Monday we'll have some time, and Monday and Tuesday we'll learn about it some more. But at least for now we'll be able to have something to focus on. And the point to remember is that the dinim, the judgments, are so powerful on Rosh Hashanah that this is not the day that you want to sleep in. This is not the day that you want to have just some schmoozing conversations with anyone. This is not the day that you definitely don't want to do anything that will arouse more dinim. You're getting into some type of an argument on Rosh Hashanah, then be very fast to back out of the argument. I always see, specifically on Rosh Hashanah, that people start arguments in the shul, because he sat in my seat, this is my seat, you took my siddur, why are you standing here? This is where the Yetzer Hara is trying to arouse more dinim. Because if I'm now upset because you sat in my seat, then I'm getting angry. The din, the judgment is so severe that it's turned on within seconds. So you can notice, I always notice it, that on Rosh Hashanah, very quickly you start arguments. So you got to be very on top of your game. This is not only arguments in the shul, between the husband and wife, between people, and so forth. And you got to be very, very careful, because the Yetzer Hara, he knows how to push that there'll be a lot of frictions. You have to be very fast to, no, I'm not arousing any problems here, sit wherever you want, do what you just, let's just live in peace. But we got to remember that we need to arouse a lot of mercy that day, besides the prayer and the shofar. Very important that throughout the 2 days you read a lot of Tehillim, you learn a lot of Torah. This is not the day to sleep in, and not the day to have walks in the park, and this is a day that you have to be on top of your toes. If that's how you say it in English, at least in Hebrew, that's what you say. No, you don't say it in English. But be alert. And this is 48 hours that you have to invest a lot of power, and it will sustain with you and remain with you for the rest of the year. And needless to say that our point is to sweeten all the judgments, that the bracha, that the blessing that we get is coming in full power, that it blesses us for the rest of the year with health and happiness and parnasah, good livelihood, and everything that our heart desires, that it should come in the best way possible. And more than that, I mean, everyone is already, on Rosh Hashanah has already decided what's going to be your challenge. And you get a list of challenges for the year. So at least you want to pray that the challenges are not going to be so hard. They're going to be, like little speed bumps, not like big mountains. And not only that the challenge, I'll have all the right tools to be able to overpower the challenge, chick-chack, get my job done and move forward. So this is the day where you lay down the foundation. So I highly recommend not to sleep in and not to rest, and sleep a little bit, not to waste that time on stump conversations. And the Yetzer Hara is always going to make sure that in the table where you're invited for the meal, somebody sits there and and talks to you, and you're like, so just be aware of the importance of the day and what can be done and what can be achieved in that day. Bezrat Hashem, with all that, Bezrat Hashem will bless us all with Shana Tova, with Gmar Chatima Tova. We'll be inscribed in the book of life, the book of health and wealth and happiness. And hopefully we should be experiencing the ultimate blessing, and we see the coming of Mashiach finally with our own eyes. רבי חנניה בן הקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.